true self means, sounds like, and looks like. Welcome to the very first episode of Brave Steps Forward. I'm your host, Karlin Tapia, coach, speaker, educator, and certified practitioner. I'll put more info of my work and what I do in the show notes. Feel free to contact us. My team would love to schedule a guest on my podcast. I have exciting plans for this, and I am ready to serve you. This podcast is designed to help you break free from fear or toxic stress and grow into the most confident, empowered version of yourself. If you're feeling stuck, uncertain, or overwhelmed, you've come to the right place. All right. Well, welcome, Ana Ruiz. It's so good to have you here. I can't wait to get to learn more about you in person and for my following to get to know you.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Carling, and I really appreciate the invitation, and thanks to everyone who's watching.
Of course. So I remember seeing you, seeing your profile, and I saw that you did a lot of different types of healing, but I remember reading that finally you found something that helped you truly heal at the root. So why don't you share a little bit of that story with us if you want?
Yeah. So I was diagnosed with bipolar 1 disorder 20 years ago. So for 20 years, I've been seeking answers. I've been seeking just different healing modalities. And it really has been a journey. And I work with therapists, I work with energy healers. I became an energy healer myself. I did family constellations, I did body work, I did a number of things. And really working with an attachment healing specialist, which is really someone, a trauma specialist, has really made a huge difference for myself and in my life and all my relationships.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I hear about attachment theory a lot myself. My background is in social work, so I know a lot about it. Can you tell us a little bit, maybe like examples with your specific diagnosis? How was it? And just a little bit because sometimes people don't even know um like that they have bipolar 1, right? I didn't even know there was a bipolar 1 and 2. I was when I started reading that, I was like, wow. So just educate us a little bit if you will.
Sure. Yeah, so the main difference between a diagnosis of bipolar 1 and bipolar 2 is that bipolar 1 has manic episodes that are more severe and last longer, versus people who are diagnosed with bipolar type 2. Their episodes are shorter. They're called hypomania, so they will go from feeling mania to feeling depressed, and that's kind of like the main difference. And so in my case, I had at least 10 manic episodes that require hospitalization, another probably between 5 and 7 episodes that I was able to contain them at home and catch them early. And through taking medication, antipsychotic medication, I was able to manage it at home and not have to go to the hospital. So that's really kind of like my story in just a couple minutes, if that
Yeah.
makes any sense.
Thank you for sharing. If you don't mind me like keep digging in, like for example, when you said like you were able to catch it, what were your symptoms or how did that happen? Because I know for me, flashbacks with PTSD, I've healed so much of my PTSD. But for me, when I know I'm going to have a flashback, I don't longer, it doesn't control me, it doesn't bring me down. I could really tell my brain and use my tools of breathing and of grounding, of holding my dog or
Mhm.
going on a walk to know, hey, you're Karlin, you're not there anymore. So
Well, that's really powerful that you are able to manage that yourself. I think that is huge. In my case, I initially was not able to catch the episodes on my own. It's usually my husband who can just be with me and notice that something is off. So some of the things that he can tell about me, and I think people are unique and there are some symptoms that are in common, but one of the things that he notices is that my eyes get kind of glassy, and it's this sense of like he can't tell if I'm there or not. Those are the words that he uses, because it's kind of like you abandon your body. So I interpret that as some level of dissociation where I'm just not aware of myself anymore. And another thing that he'll notice is that I start speaking really fast. And what I share, like my stories, are incoherent. He also will notice that I start spending money, even like not large amounts of money. Some people spend thousands and thousands of money, but I start like spending like small amounts of money on like little things. I will buy 5 pairs of slippers when normally people only buy 1 pair or 2 pairs. So he starts noticing that my spending habits are starting to go up. And he will also notice that I'm kind of like scatter, is that same dissociation where it's like, is she there? Is she not? And is what he will notice in myself. And initially, he would get me in the car and take me to the hospital. In more recent years, because I've been stable, now my psychiatrist allows me to have a small amount of antipsychotic medication at home, that as soon as my husband says, hey, something is off, I have a prescription, I know how to start taking it, and then I make an appointment with my psychiatrist right away, and then it can all be managed at home. So that's kind of like how my journey has been. And just hearing you share how you've been managing your PTSD symptoms, the work that I have been doing with this attachment healing specialist, what it really has allowed me is to, first of all, feel in my body, because my nervous system was in freeze for most of my life because of trauma, right? So once my nervous system was in freeze, I had to learn how to like feel again in my body and feel my nervous system and be able to work with my nervous system to come out of that freeze response through exercises and meditations that help me regulate my nervous system. Is that making sense?
absolutely. For me, it is. I speak that language, but
Okay.
if you want to clarify, I know that some of my speakers are new to the mental health field, so
Of course. So I'll just share just very briefly. Our nervous system has 3 states, which is ventral, which means we're in a state of we're playful, we're calm, we feel safe. And ideally, that's where we want to be. The next state is the sympathetic, which is fight or flight, which is when we feel threatened, we feel attacked, and therefore our response is to be defensive and either fight back or like run like flee. And then the third state, which is where I've been for most of my life, was dorsal, which is shut down or freeze. And what it means is I was like disconnected from my body, and is what most people refer to as like being depressed. Is really not a depression, it's just like not like a suppression of feeling. We're in freeze, we're in shut down, and Yeah, so I think the best one of the breakthroughs I've had is that learning how to move from dorsal shutdown to sympathetic fight or flight and then to ventral, which is something that I've never really experienced before. And what it has allowed me to do is I can feel in my body now when I start to have a manic episode, it just starts to feel like these butterflies in my stomach. And I have an exercises and meditations that I can do on my own to calm down that sensation. And then it really dissolves and it goes away. So it's really amazing because now I don't need my husband to be spotting me every single time. Now I have more control on myself with the work that I've been doing.
Well, that's commendable. Like I am super proud of you. I know it's scary to do it on your own because I used to also rely on, and it's not bad to rely on someone, right? We're interdependent with people, but it's also good to know how to do it on our own. So it sounds like you have learned how to do that. And that's why I wanted to interview you because I want people that do have this diagnosis that they know that it's possible because a lot of people just hear what you hear on TV, like go to the doctor, get meds, and you're stuck with it, and just kind of like a negative connotation. And I never hear about what like your story. And I know we need more people to talk about their story like you. I know you're not the only one, but there needs to be more people that come up and say, hey, like, we can help you discover a natural way, a way the body works to
Yeah.
help it regulate.
And I think it's important that I share about just my own experience with medication. I still take one medication. It's lithium, and it's something that I've been taking for 20 years. And it would be the times that I tried to stop it in the past, I would end up having a manic episode. So I learned the hard way to stay with the medication, and the reason for that is my body is used to it. So in order to do all the trauma work that I've done, I needed to be stable, right? And that's the thing, that medication is the one thing that it does. It helps us stay stable, whether we like it or not, whether, yeah, the side effects are no fun at all. But still is the one thing that we know that works quickly. And if somebody has a family, a relationship, a job, responsibilities, they support themselves financially, it's important to know that medications are kind of like that. They provide that stability. And in my case, with the progress that I've made, my psychiatrist knows about it. He's also a naturopath. He's been very slowly and carefully um, weaning myself off from the lithium, but it has to be like something very, very carefully and gradual because it's something that my body has depended on for so many years. So, what this new way does of me being able to spot myself is I don't require antipsychotic medication anymore. And that is like a huge benefit because from the meds that I used to take, antipsychotics are the ones that have like the worst side effects in my experience. So I hope this helps just like clarify the conversation of meds, right?
For sure, yes. You bring up a good point. When I started my healing journey, I didn't go on antidepressants because I don't know, it was just I was not well informed and I wanted to like toughen it out. But then I got to the point where I'm like, okay, I really need them because I couldn't function sometimes. I was overspending, and I'm very determined to just live a beautiful life. And so I remember on the second year of my healing journey, I started meds and it really helped and supported. So I changed the way I view it, and it's just my brain needs that support, and that's okay. So that's what I'm hearing you say too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's important that people know that and that they know that there's a risk with, especially with conditions like mental illnesses like bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, things of that nature. There's a risk with not taking medication. And I think that I used to make the mistake of stopping my meds and then have to live with the consequences. So I think it's important that people know that.
For sure. I also wanted to ask you about alcohol. Does anything happen when if do you drink alcohol? I have an intention behind the question. I'll tell you.
Sure. Of course, yeah. So I stopped drinking alcohol 3 years ago. One day I just went cold turkey and I was like, no more alcohol. And the reason behind it is, well, two things. I just didn't like how I felt in my body when I had alcohol. Even one or two drinks made me sleepy. I had a headache the next day. So I just didn't want to deal with that anymore. But then the second reason is in order to do this work of feeling in my body, if I'm drinking alcohol, that disconnects me from, even if it's just a few hours, it disconnects me from my body. And I didn't want that. It was just like my own commitment to myself and stay connected to myself and be aware of manic episodes that I said, no more, no more alcohol.
Yeah, I love that. I love what you said that I'm committed to myself. And there's a lot of people. I used to work in a eating disorders clinic, and we would teach people like commitment. They didn't even know what a commitment was and how to start that with themselves.
Yeah.
So it's very important. Um, yeah, I can imagine for me it has affected me with my PTSD, um, like maybe drinking too much, and then I stopped for that reason because I just saw that it wasn't serving me well, that it was like it was like I released everything that was in my brain that I wanted to say but didn't say, but it wasn't like in an appropriate way. And so that's why I asked, I'm like, does that happen to people with that struggle of bipolar disorder? So um I think your answer was yes, right? Because it affects your body.
Yeah, yeah, it affects your body, it affects your brain, it affects your, for me, it was like my awareness of my surroundings and my environment, which is what you're saying, right? All of a sudden we are just everything that we've been holding back that we don't want to say, all of a sudden we don't have any filters and it just comes out. And so yeah, that makes so much sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, but a lot of people like that, and they choose to live that way. I just wish that alcohol wasn't a thing, or that it was at least harder to get. It's hard to like go out, and that alcohol is everywhere.
Yes, yes, I agree. And I have noticed, I don't know what state you live in, but I live in Seattle, and it's interesting to observe how, like, more and more there's this non-alcoholic movement, and you go to a restaurant, and on the menu there are non-alcoholic drinks, and more people are embracing that lifestyle. So that's been really helpful for me in my transition as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, I live in Kansas City, Missouri, and yes, I do see a lot of that too. Yeah. And sometimes they are like accommodating, like, oh, I want a pina colada, can you make it without alcohol? But I mean more of like if I want to go to a rooftop, they should be like a rooftop for mocktails for people who don't want to drink, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I
I feel
agree.
like they squeeze us in like, okay, alcohol and then one mocktail.
Yes, I totally agree with you. Yeah.
Well, this was so much fun. Is there anything else, any tip or anything that your heart wants to really tell my audience?
Yeah, I think I do want to share the work that I do because being in the journey that I have been and just how important it was for me to have a healthy romantic relationship and how hard it was because of all the trauma that I had experienced. So I starting relationships to the point that I became a relationship coach. I quit a 25-year career in software just so that I could be a relationship coach full time. And I work specifically with women living with bipolar disorder who are either single and want a relationship, or they are in a relationship and they're having a lot of challenges and they want help. So I'm currently doing that work, and I'm also starting to see clients who want help with trauma healing. So I'm also a trauma healing facilitator just for people with bipolar disorder who want to live well, because it is possible. It is possible to live well and thrive in life.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I can connect so much because I myself help people with PTSD because we've done the work and now we want to pay it forward. So I think you're an excellent coach and you're on the right path. If I ever have any clients with bipolars, I would definitely refer. I don't plan to be a specialist in every, disorder and everything. So I stay in my lane. So thank you so much for coming on. And yeah, I hope that it's a beautiful day over there in Seattle.
It is. It's turning out a little cloudy, but at least the rain has stopped. So I hope that it's a beautiful day in Missouri where you are.
It
And
is 60
thank you.
degrees.
Oh, nice. Nice. Well, thank you again for this opportunity and for sharing, yeah, allowing me to come here and share. And thanks for everyone who listened.
That's it. That's a wrap, you guys. Thank you so much for being here today and for giving me the privilege to speak over your life and for you receiving the gift of growth. Remember, every step you take forward, no matter how small or big, you are truly moving forward to who you're truly meant to be. Embrace the journey because the process of becoming is just as powerful as the destination. And in today's episode, if something sparked in you, a question, anything, a goal, an idea, hold on to that. Let it be the nudge you need to take brave steps forward toward the life that's calling. You don't have to have it all figured out to start. You just need to take that next step. And I'll be here cheering you on every step of the way. Until next time, keep going. Hey, and do me a favor, share this episode with one friend or on social media. Let's bring more awareness to taking brave steps forward together. And that's it. That's a wrap, you guys. Thank you so much for being here today and for giving me the privilege to speak over your life and for you receiving the gift of growth. Remember, every step you take forward, no matter how small or big, you are truly moving forward to who you're truly meant to be. Embrace the journey because the process of becoming is just as powerful as the destination. And in today's episode, if something sparked in you, a question, anything, a goal, an idea, hold on to that. Let it be the nudge you need to take brave steps forward toward the life that's calling. You don't have to have it all figured out to start. You just need to take that next step. And I'll be here cheering you on every step of the way. Until next time, keep going. Hey, and do me a favor, share this episode with one friend or on social media. Let's bring more awareness to taking brave steps forward together.